Hello. My name is Daniel Ostrovsky, and today we'll talk about the flexible way to adopt user experience in Angular applications according to the user permissions and roles. Just for you can see here all my social links. Don't forget to subscribe, follow me on Twitter. I'm trying to reach at least 1,000 followers on Twitter, so there is not much left to this number. Okay, it's only about 990. So if you can follow me, I will be really appreciate it. I'm preparing some interesting content all around Angular and TypeScript. So yeah, don't forget to follow me. A little bit about me. I'm a developer with more than 20 years of experience. I'm a full cycle evangelist, meaning everything that, from planning, dev, test, monitoring, delivery. I believe that the full cycle development is the future in our reality now. I'm a public speaker and a writer on multiple languages, on English, Hebrew, Russian, Ukrainian, and I'm open source contributor. The pictures that you see on the left side is my hobbies, or at least that's how I was hoping my hobbies will look like. This is actually the reality. It looks a little bit different than I hoped for, but still I'm really happy about it. Yeah, my kids like to climbing on walls and diving and sailing and stuff. Yeah. So let's continue. Authentication is not authorization. It's different things. They're all related to security, of course, but it's a little bit different. The difference is authentication is dealing with who are you. Okay, simple login. Basically, it just asks, do we know you? Are you a subscriber? Are you a user? Are you familiar? Who are you? Not more than that. Okay, it doesn't care about what you can do. It's just only are we familiar or not. Authorization is what you can do, what you can see, what you can touch. This is about permissions and roles. Okay, are you admin? Are you simple user? Are you premium user? Are you a subscriber? Do you pay money? You don't pay money? Are you trial user? And stuff like this. So this is the main difference between authentication and authorization. Okay, one is login, another one is permissions. So first of all, of course, in all our applications, we're doing the authentication first, right? We need to verify who are you, and then authentication. I'll show the simple flow when we have a device, right? Like user device, some web application, authentication / authorization service, and database. This again, it's a simplified flow. I know usually it's much more complicated. Usually it involves third-party authorization services. It might be SSO, single sign authorization, like for example Google or Microsoft Okta or with Facebook and stuff. So it can be different options of how to authenticate and authorizate user, but this flow that I will show, it's actually simplified and unified flow. Okay, so user performs the login, clicks on the button, or sends his user credentials, username and password. Authorization service get this data, validates if user active, if it's user in database, if it's what does it have. Okay, do we have this user at all? Retrieves the permission. And the authorization service also combines the permissions into the different tokens. It can be GWT token, it can be reference token, and many other options. Sometimes it also adds user details, to show on the client, hello Daniel, or something like this. and also it have a set of permissions or roles or something like this, retrieves back to the application. Then application need actually to reflect on, okay, to act according to the permissions or roles that user have. That's basically simple flow, okay, very simplified, but this is how it works on very high level. So authorization, as we said, is what you do, and it can be show hide elements, right? How application can reflect to show hide elements, to restrict the access to the specific URLs, some functionality restrictions, for example, or partially, or many other things. Let's take an example, the to-do application. I hope we're all familiar with the to-do application, some app that where we're able to add our to-do task, we're able to check or uncheck it, and we're able to delete it. And also, let's say there is a page with a statistic and ability to delete all completed tasks. Okay, so this is our application, and then product come to us and says, hey, we want the user that can see and update all the tasks. Okay, so basically user have his tasks, he can see it, he can update it. Basically update meaning to check or uncheck it, right? Done, not done. But user not able to delete it, not able to create new tasks, or not able to see statistic. Okay, this is for admin only. Admin can see all tasks, okay, also able to create new ones, but not able to see statistic. Okay, not the simple admin. The super admin can see all tasks, can create the new ones, delete them, and also can see the statistic page. So this is the requirements from the product. And usually when we take in these requirements, in most of the cases, what we will do, and I hope you all does it, we will go to roles table, right? We want to see it on one page. We'll go to the Confluence, create table, or to the Google Sheets or something like this, and we will create table and basically build something like this. User, admin, super admin, this is our roles. Ability to do things, right? The functionalities, read, create, update, delete, oversee statistics. And this is our table. That's what we actually building, and we like, okay, let's see, let's go the next step. We developed it, we released our application, there is coming new users, customers, multiple customers and stuff, and then coming product and says new requirement that says, okay, we have a user who should be able to read, to create new ones, to update, and to see statistics. Okay, we'll create a new user role. Then after a few weeks, okay, product again comes to us and says, hey, I need a new admin role. But the admin role should be able to read, should not be able to create, because I don't want to give him, to create the new tasks. It's kind of weird admin. This is the customer requirements. I should be able to update and to delete, and see statistics, but not able to create the new task. Okay, I don't want him to create a new task. Let's create a new role. Okay, and we created a new role, some kind of half super admin or something like this. Okay. Then we have a special super admin who will able to do everything that regular super admin can do, but not see statistic. Okay, because we don't want to show him statistic, we don't trust him or something like this. But this is the new role, and so on and so on and so on and so on. Very fast we come into the situation where the number of roles and the permutations of the functionalities in these roles, and we're starting with the logic like, if it's admin but not super admin, but not very admin, and not very user, and not so like him, and we do love him, and he didn't pay enough money, and he's on trial and whatever, and then we come into to the mess, okay, like huge mess of roles and logics, if else stuff in our code, show or hide simple button. Okay, that's how it usually ends. I believe most of you, once in a while, at least once in your life, in your experience, had the situation when you were supposed to write like very long one liner, if else and in, and after only while whatever it is, then let's show the button, if not, let's show the other button, or something like this. So I did a little bit of research a while ago about the permissions and the best approach how to actually handle this stuff. Okay, when our product, especially when our product is growing or when our product is changing, and we got the new users and we have a new customers, and we might have new requirements related to the permissions and to roles. So one of my favorite solutions is permission map. Okay, it's very close to what big companies does, for example, like AWS or Amazon on the Amazon console, AWS console, or Google console. So basically, it's kind of mapping between features, actions, and also it might go deeper to the fields actions. Okay, there's two options. One of them is actual map. So it's object. We'll say if we're talking about to-dos, and if user able to create, able to read, able to update, able to delete. If I will remove here from this object, I will remove the update key. So meaning that this user will be able to create, read, and delete, but not able to update, for example. Okay. The other part is to do basically the same, but with the simple strings. Okay, we can see it's underscore separated between feature and the action that is allows and not allows, and basically we can see if user have to do underscore create, so user able to create the to do. If user able to see stats, user able to see stats. Okay. Let's continue. Let's code. As I said, we will use to-do app as an example. Okay, so here's our simple to-do application. Tasks, we can add more tasks if we need. Have fun. We can update it. Okay, we can delete it. We can do have fun again, and we can actually let's say click on clear completed, multiple ones. Okay, that's simple functionality, nothing special. Okay, on this side though, we can see user permissions. Okay, in this specific application, I will use NGRX as a state management, and basically let's say this application is after login. Okay, as we said, there is difference between authorization and authentication. Okay, we're not dealing with authentication today. We're dealing with authorization only with the user's roles and permissions. Meaning, so basically we're assuming that user had successful login to this application, and this is the set of permission user got from the authorization service. Okay, authentication service, to be more correctly. So we can see here that user is should be able to see to-dos, okay, to read and update. Should not be able to delete, and should not be able to create the new ones. So let's start with actually applying the UI according to the user permissions. Okay, let's minify it. A few things about architecture and implementation. Okay, my implementation for the usually for the public talks, especially when we're talking about the use cases like this, and not about the advanced stuff of meta programming or something like this. So this implementation is not pretended to be the most accurate one or the best one or the correct one. Okay, you might see here some bad practices in code. You might see here some you could say, oh, I can put here more abstractions, or I would do it in the different class, or I will put it in the different service, or whatever. You will be, most likely you will be right. Okay, the main idea here is to write as simple code as possible, as readable as possible, to show the options. What are our options to adopt the application, okay, the UI, the experience manager, how to make it easier for the other developers, okay, how to let's say develop the option or develop the component once and reuse it many times. Okay, the logic, either it should be disabled or enabled, and actually to reuse it in multiple places according to user permissions. Let's continue. This is the permissions. Let's update. Let's first of all, the most important one, yeah, let's remove the delete button. Okay, we don't want our user with these permissions to be able to delete task. Okay, able to update, to check and check, but not to delete. Okay, so let's all we need in this case just to hide it. One of the most important things in user and permissions functionalities, okay, when we're dealing with the logic, either it required or either it's should be shown, hide it, protect it, restrict it, or whatever, it's we need to have this logic in one single place. Okay, in my case, it's going to be the function, since I'm using NGRX as a state management, so I added this function as part of the selectors. Again, I don't want to go over the how to use NGRX. I believe some of you knows. If not, it's worth to read it. But basically, the main idea is there is one place that have access to all permissions, the user's permission that we have in our state, and it receives the required permission for specific action on specific feature. Okay, so here we can see that we have one selector that called isPermitted_state. It receives the required permission, okay, and it returns true or false. Okay, that's how it should be done. So I mean, internal logic can be implemented differently, depends on the way how you saving or how you managing your permissions and roles, but in the final there should be simple answer true false. Okay, and there should be only one place and only one function that actually validates it for entire application. This is the best practice. Okay, I believe that there is some cases where it cannot be done or should be done differently, whatever, but the best case and the rule of thumb is to have one place where you can, one place that have access to user permissions, and this function receives required permission and it validates if user have this permission or not. That's it, and returns true or false. Okay, so let's go to the single to the component. Again, I'm not going to go over the implementation of the application. It's not the reason for this talk, as we all know. Here's a button, okay, the delete button. Instead of having based on the class inside of the component code and styling, hide, not hide, show, not show the application, the button, the element, or let's say I can add, I can use if directive, right? I can use structural directive if in this code and validate if user have the permission or not. Instead of it, I can create my own structural directive, okay, that receives as a parameter the required permission. Okay, so what I'm doing here, let's take a look on our directive. Okay, permission directive. Simple, nothing complicated. Okay, structural directive from Angular. It receives, as I said, the required property. Okay, basically it's the permission, and it subscribes to our state. Okay, passes the required and returns if it's can do or cannot do. Okay, so if it's true, it will render the element. If it's false, you will see the permission directive says you don't have. You will see the console log, or we can do whatever, hide it, and act accordingly. So here now we can see that there is no delete button. So one more time, simple directive can be reused in multiple places, in many places, as a directive for the permissions. All it's need to know it's the permission, the required permission for this specific element to be shown. Okay, and if it's shown, it will show. If not, not. That's it. This is simple implementation and simple functionality, and you can see that we're using the same function is permitted, single one that we have. Okay, let's take a look on statistics. According to the permissions, a user should not able to see statistics if I'm right. I'm right. Okay, so and now he's able to see statistics. Okay. Basically, this is a simple part, right? We all know the guards in Angular. That's how we will implement it. Let's go to our routing. This is routing to our stats component. Here's the can activate parameter, right? And the permission guard service. The regular one, nothing special, returns true or false. The only one thing here is that I'm sending to this guard the required permission to see actually this route. Okay, and it starts read. So now guard will validate if user permissions have stats read. Okay, inside of the guard is simple. Okay, we take in the same is permitted state. We send in there the required permission. Okay, we can retrieve it from raw data permissions in can activate function. Okay, again, I'm not talking about how the guard works and how the what is the route activated route snapshot and start like this. Okay, you can read it in Angular documentation. I'm showing here the usage of the guard. Okay, how to use it. So this function should return either observable boolean, or it can return boolean without any observable. But here, that's exactly what we're doing. We're selecting. By the way, look at this. Since the guard can activate, able to return or observable boolean or simple boolean, we can just take this selector, okay, that actually returns the observable true false, and just return it like this, okay, without this pipe. This pipe here is only to alert the message, okay. But if we don't need it, all we need to do is just to return the selector with the required permission. And let's save. Let's reload the page. Let's try to access the statistic, and we're not able to access it. Let's go to our permissions, and let's say that now our user is able to read it. Okay. And since he is able to read it, he is able to get there. Okay, now we don't have any errors. By the way, also here we can add the delete property, right, to the user's permission, and now user able to delete his tasks. Okay, um, let's continue. Okay, so as you remember, this user, for example, he's not able to create new tasks. Okay, so we need actually somehow to prevent from him this functionality. There's few options. One of them actually to hide the input. Okay, to hide this header of the application, but not product and not the designers. They say it's gonna be, it looks ugly. Like, let's just disable it. Okay. And it sounds reasonable. Why actually to remove it, to change the UI, if we can just disable the specific element? So let's see the way we can disable the specific element. Disabling the element, especially input, is pretty simple, okay? Since input supports disabled, okay? All it's need to do is just to receive the true or false, okay, if it's disabled or not. To support this, okay, we have here the icons, let's move it. Okay, so we will use pipe, simple pipe, that again will receive the required permissions, okay, to do create, and it will return, in our case, observable boolean true or false, okay, if the user able to create or not able to create new tasks. Pipe, again, very simple. It can be again without this this pipe method, okay. It just can return the is permitted state selector that already handle either true or false. If user have permissions or not, it gets the required permissions, validates, and will return observable boolean, either it's user required or not. Okay, and that's it. So now it's disabled. Okay, now user not able to create a new task. Of course, we want our user to be able to create a new task, our specific user, and now user is able to create task and everything nice and cool. Okay, let's continue the next one. So now let's assume that we have some kind of premium feature, premium functionality. Okay, we have a user who able to create tasks. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, and the premium functionality is saying that you're able to delete the completed tasks with one button, okay, with clear completed. But person should pay for it. Okay, we want someone to pay for this functionality. But we want also comes product, okay, and says, okay, I want, first of all, I want to show this button because I want people to see that this functionality exists. I want this button to be clickable, okay, but still I want to show just the alert message about that this you're not able and please pay money and stuff like this. So let's go to the actually, so we're not able to see here, we're not able to use, let's say, structural directive. Okay, we don't want to hide this button. We don't want to make it disabled. Okay, product wants to be available and enabled. So what our options? This is our method that actually dispatch the action that clear completed to do's. And one of the options, of course, is to set here some kind of if, okay, to write if user have permissions to retrieve the state to the state, and check if user they have the required permissions, yes or no. But then, for example, if we have multiple places like this, we will use it the same if almost everywhere, and this doesn't look good, okay? It's not readable so much. So my preferred option is to use permissions, is to use decorator, okay? So decorator is a function that returns another function that actually does some things. Let's take a look. Now this specific decoration again receives the required permission, right? And what it does, again, it's a just function that receives the parameter that we passed. It returns another function that receives the class, okay, our class that our method is decorated on. It receives the property key, the name of the decorated method. In our case, it would be clear completed descriptor for this method. And again, what we're doing here, we actually kind of changing the original function with our own, where we're validating, we're injecting the store. We have the same validation is permitted state, okay, we're using the same selector, we're checking if it's allowed, not allowed, and if it's not allowed, so it will say, hey, you're not allowed to perform this action. If it's allowed, it will execute the function, the decorated method, and everything will be okay. All the information about the decorator you can find me again on Medium blog. Okay, there's 4 articles about the metaprogramming. 2 of them is about decorators and how to use it, about dependency injection and other interesting things. So find it and read it, or read somebody else, but mine is better. So yeah, decorators is also one of the ways when we can validate or check different things before the execution of the functions, okay? We also can do logs, just logging, warning or stuff like this, but also we can actually prevent from executing the decorated method. Let's check it right now. We can see that in this case, let's just remove it, okay. It will be executed. Why? Because person have this have the required permissions. Let's do delete many, okay, for example. Let's require this permission, okay. So we will remove this, and then we will go back to our decorator, okay. Sorry, not decorator, the component itself will require the delete many. And now let's check if user able to. You are not permitted to do this, meaning basically we can show this the message that shows, hey, please pay us some money to be able to do this action. And when user paid us enough money, we can go back to his definition and add permission that now user is able to do to delete many, and we able to delete, says you have a permissions and everything is great and nice and wonderful, okay. So let's continue. Okay, so we checked, so we went over the few options of how we can adopt our UI, okay. We can use disable enable on the input elements or different or other elements, okay. We can use, of course, the class based. We also talked about the ability to hide elements with the custom structural directive, okay, and we just will pass in this directive the required permission. Of course, the navigation with the out guard, and also we in data property we will pass the required permission. And decorator, my favorite ones is a decorator where we can show hide, not show hide, sorry, but prevent the actual method without changing the UI. Okay, we can have the same UI but the same functionality, and if it's user don't have the required permission, so the action won't be done, and we can show the additional view that he need to pay for this action, for this functionality or something like this. So this is it. I believe there is many other options, but this is my favorite ones, and it's easy to use it. And one more time, don't forget that one of the most important things is to have the single place with a logic that decides that either its user have permission or not. Okay, there is only one place should to be that returns true or false. And yeah, to have don't use roles, use permissions. Roles is just groups for the permissions, not more than that. And I believe that's it, less or more. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, sorry for my English. Follow me on Medium, follow me on Twitter. Let's get the 1,000 followers on Twitter. There's left only 900 something. And have a good day.